Welcome again, everyone, to another Webfire Wednesday webinar. On this one, we'll actually talk about 5 easy ways to make money with Webfire. And what's kind of different about this one right here is that I'll actually give you specific examples, so not just general ones, but specific ones that you can actually use right now. Of course, you can take all of these and tweak them to fit like any market or any niche, but we oftentimes get asked if there's actual like specific examples that we can give as well. So even though we sprinkle those throughout a lot of our trainings, I thought I'd make this call on just that because there's been a lot of you that have asked for something on just that instead of just sprinkling it throughout the training. So that's for you guys as well. So really good and exciting stuff on this call right here. And again, thanks to all of you that have joined. If ever you have any questions at all, just type those into the little chat box, and either Sean or Sharon will answer you via the chat while I'm basically talking, or at the very end of the call, I'll actually answer a bunch of questions live as well. So that tends to be, the best of both worlds, so I don't have to stop every minute or two and answer a question. So towards the very end, we'll have lots of live Q&A time, but if you have any questions in the meantime at all, feel free to ask right there. And yes, of course, we always have the replay up, usually within about a day or so, so no worries with that. So again, this is yet another Webfire Wednesday webinar, and they're every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll do either a live training or a Q&A call for all of our Webfire members. So if you're on this call right now, you're obviously aware of it and you're registered, and you'll get a reminder each week on that. Now, all these trainings will either feature myself, Brian Kaz, Sean Casey, both of us at once, or occasionally a featured special guest if we think that their expertise would be of value to our members. Like a little ways back, we had a guy who specialized in Shopify sites, and we thought, hey, Webfire can really help with those, but he specialized in selling, e-commerce stuff and shirts and all that, and we thought, hey, there's a lot of people that have an interest in that, so we got him on board to talk on that. So people seem to really enjoy that. Now, if you're here or registered for this series, again, you'll get a reminder each week so you don't forget, but if you can't make one, again, we'll always have the recordings up in the members area within a day or so of any of the calls that we do, and they're always under the training tab on the top on the left side navigation bar. So you see the latest trainings right there, as well as our past trainings too. So you can use these calls as an opportunity to get even more training, ask strategy type questions, get feedback, or make suggestions on what else you'd like to see or hear about or learn. Now, as a special note, I just want to take a minute to talk about this right here. Our support was saying that like a lot of you have been asking like some basic questions like, do you have any traffic plans, or how do I rank, or how do I get traffic, or stuff like that. And I just want to say that all of this has been covered on several of our prior Webfire calls, as well as in our Webfire trainings. But we also constantly reiterate several key concepts as well. So if there's really important stuff, we'll try to reiterate that throughout the calls. But just in the last week, we've had a handful of guys saying, hey, is there any kind of traffic plan you have, or how do I rank and stuff like that? And two weeks ago, we had a call that was titled, traffic plan. So the entire call was on how to get traffic to your site, how to rank and all that. And on the first or second week, we also had a call that was also on, how to rank and how to jumpstart rankings and all that stuff right there. So make sure to check our prior trainings, because we even though we reiterate stuff, we won't, repeat the exact same training over and over and over and over and over again each week, because then, there obviously wouldn't be room for any new stuff. So keep in mind to watch those prior trainings as well right there, because I think you can get a lot of value out of that there. And as always, I want to briefly go over the Webfire member rules to success. Number one, follow the steps and the trainings that we have. Again, there's oftentimes a lot of people that skip the trainings or skip the steps, and then they get lost or confused or upset then. And this is especially true with like some of the lead tools. If they don't target the keywords right, or they target like we've had a couple people that have like keyword phrases that they're trying to search for that are like 50 words long, where like no one will obviously type in that exact term. So that's covered all in the training and the walkthroughs and stuff, but just make sure to take some time to do that. Second one, which I think is probably the most important, is don't give up. Now seek help when needed, but don't necessarily get too dependent on stuff. And I've seen it go both ways. I've seen some guys that never seek help and are very stubborn, and they get lost when usually the fix is very, very easy. And I've also seen guys that get incredibly dependent, like they'll ask nonstop questions that a quick Google search would solve for them in like a second. So they're almost trying to find excuses to hold themselves back from moving forward. So you never want to follow that, but most importantly, again, don't give up. I mean, not everyone has like the best result or the best sale or anything like right off the bat. Like if you try to rank for one term, especially if it's a more competitive term, if you don't get ranked the next day, don't give up on that. That's partly why I say try to shoot for like a handful of keywords where if you get ranked for just one, great. If you get ranked for more, that's basically a bonus, because you can get ranked for, again, all those terms. It's just a question of how much effort you put into it and how well you use the actual tools. And lastly, no whining or negative attitudes. This, I think, is one of the fastest ways to fail, and that's if you have a negative attitude, you'll always look for an excuse of why something won't work for you, versus a positive attitude would be, well, I contacted a few leads, a couple of them wrote back. I may not have made a sale yet, but it's a good sign that some wrote back. What can I do to possibly increase the amount of people that write back, or possibly make my offer a bit more appealing, or anything like that? That's a positive attitude, whereas the negative ones are, I emailed 3 people and I haven't made a sale yet, this sucks. And that's, again, just a very bad attitude to have right there. So make sure that you don't whine or have a bad attitude, basically, and I think you'll be just fine. So here's a few quick announcements, and then we'll get on with the training itself. First, many of our tools have recently added a PDF export feature, which is where you can basically export the results of the tool, like the leads and stuff like that, as well as the site analysis. But we're about to add one more, and that should be out hopefully this week or close to, and that's with the Tweet Lead Finder. So that's one of the newer tools, which is why it didn't have the export feature right away that finds the social leads on Twitter and such. And we'll have a quick and easy feature where you can click a button and export all those leads, which of course you can use yourself. You can hand it off to others to outsource to. You can sell it as a service, or you hand the leads out in a file and all that good stuff right there. So that's a pretty exciting one, because there's a lot of stuff that you can do with that tool, and that's a pretty cool addition too. And again, that was all a free update for you guys right there. Another feature that we recently added by popular demand is with the site analysis tool. So we've always allowed you to export basically a site analysis or an SEO report with that, but we now made it possible so you can either export it with your own branding, or you can export it to just not show the Webfire name or logo or anything like that. So if you want to hand out reports of your own and have no mention of us, that's all possible to actually do now. So that's another pretty cool feature that we've added by popular request right there. We've also done a handful of updates to the desktop app that runs in the background. And the main updates that we've done in the last, I think the last week or two. I know we had an update less than a week ago, but we had another one about like a week and a half ago. That was basically to help with some of our heavy searches or the heavy users. So if there's guys that search for like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of keywords or leads or stuff like that, it was basically fine-tuning that to get better results and all that stuff right there. So again, lots of updates and stuff for you. And another one which we'll actually talk about at the very end, we literally today just actually opened a Facebook group for Webfire members. So we've always had a Facebook fan page for Webfire, but we just added a Facebook group. Now, some of you might ask, like, what exactly is the difference? Well, a Facebook group is more one where, you can talk and ask questions. You can basically interact more, and, if we post some, like, news or some tips or stuff like that, you're more likely to see it in your news feed. So each week we'll post some kind of, news or tip or announcement that we think you'd find useful. And again, we'll be analyzing a lot more in the coming weeks. What search engines are looking for, because what we talked about briefly at the start is we have a cool feature where we can actually analyze thousands and thousands and thousands of sites at once and kind of see, why some sites seem to rank, why some sites don't, and if there's sites that change in ranking, we can analyze a bunch at a time, or a bunch at the same time and say, well, based upon what we're seeing right now, sites that, maybe have the keyword, in their title tag are X amount of times more likely to be ranked on page 1, or sites have a keyword density of this much are, X times more likely to be on page 1, or if they're too high, they're maybe less likely. If they're so all sorts of cool info that won't just be us guessing, or won't be like an SEO expert saying, well, I think it's this. It'll be us saying, based on the raw data, here's what Google is basically ranking and why. So that will be pretty useful info, and we'll talk about this stuff on future calls as well as in the Facebook group. So at the end of this call, we'll actually give out a link where you can join the Facebook group for free. It's free for all members, and we'll even do the cash giveaway then too. So you have a chance to win $100 today on this call for joining that group and doing a post on it. And a couple more quick announcements. We're actually doing a couple masterminds that we'll be putting together in over the summer, or I should say the summer for those of us in the U.S. and the U.K. and such. But the first one, we're contemplating possibly doing a one-day mastermind in Vegas in mid to late June, so probably late June in about a month or so. And this would be geared towards those that have an existing business or skill. So, if you're brand new and don't have any skill or anything like that, the mastermind probably wouldn't be the best fit for you, but obviously the trainings and stuff we have here would also be a perfect fit. And in these masterminds, what we basically do is we show you kind of behind the scenes, like stuff that we're doing. We talk not only about lead gen, we talk about traffic gen, we talk about advertising on Facebook and tricks and stuff that we've seen and stuff that we've learned. We'll talk about e-commerce stores. We'll talk about techniques for mailing, techniques for improving sales, how to build and scale a funnel, how to build and scale a business, as well as it'll be a lot more hands-on. Like we'll actually break down your business itself. We'll look at the exact funnels that you have and give you tips and stuff, not only on your main products or services, but on your entire funnels, as well as tricks and stuff on how to sell higher ticket items and how to increase your own sales, and a whole bunch of good stuff where basically the end goal is to increase your business or increase your sales and all that. And we actually did one probably about, I don't know, 2-3 months back in the Gold Coast in Australia, and got phenomenal results with that. Tons and tons of positive feedback. Guys, giving us credit for helping them make 6 figures or more just based on the ideas and the techniques that they learned right there. So really awesome stuff right here. These are small groups, usually of 5 to 10 people tops, and it's just a one-day hands-on workshop. So again, one will be in probably late June, possibly in Vegas, and then we're also contemplating doing one in London in the UK, which would be mid-July or so. If you're interested in either of the masterminds, just type in a 1 in the chat box along with the location that you'd be most interested in. Now, again, this is ideally more for those that either have a business or have a skill that we could obviously help with. So just first type in a 1 as well as the location that you'd be most interested in. All right. All right. Seems to be a good mix of London and Vegas. All right. Seems to be a bit more in Vegas. Okay. Cool. Vegas is always fun. London's always a good trip too. All right. All right, guys. So lots of good stuff right there. So again, this won't be a free mastermind or anything like that, but it will be a huge value for the money right there. And again, because it will only be geared towards those that have an existing business and those that we feel that we can help, and we actually guarantee that we'll actually help increase the sales to your business, or you won't have to pay a penny there. So if you're interested in possibly applying to be in one of those masterminds or to get some more info on it, just shoot me a quick email at brian@webfire.com. Again, that's brian@webfire.com, and just make sure you spell it B-R-I-A-N. There's a lot of people oftentimes misspell it as brain, so just make sure to write brian@webfire.com. And I'll send you some more info on that a bit later today. So again, those are always good fun, and we always learn good stuff and have a lot of fun there. So if you're interested in that, make sure to write me there. All right. The last question I have before we jump into the 5 ways to make money with Webfire is I have a question. Is right now we're currently working with a place to kind of bring together the best of both worlds when it comes to outsourcing. So usually my experience with outsourcing in the past has been, if you outsource overseas, it's cheaper, but oftentimes you run into like a lot of problems, like, the English isn't always the best. The internet can sometimes like come and go a lot depending, upon the place and all that. And it's oftentimes like really hard to train them to do specific tasks that you need done. So what we've been actually doing is we've been working with a place and partnering up with them where they actually have access to an entire center overseas where they actually have English people on spot trained in all the stuff related to Webfire, SEO, content generation, creating sites, and all sorts of like virtual assistant type stuff, as well as SEO and marketing stuff. So if you want help in optimizing a site or doing work, they can do that. If you want help in using the Webfire tools to target the right keywords, make content, make sites, and all that, they can do that. If you want help in contacting possible leads or prospects one-on-one over email and stuff like that, they have people that can be trained on that. If you want help in forum marketing or stuff like that, they have people that can help and are trained on that. So the key there is all these guys are trained ahead of time, and we have at least one, oftentimes 2 English people on the spot right there. So these are people either from the U.S. or like Australia on the spot right there to help with all that right there. So what the reason why we basically did this is, first, we thought it'd be really cool for our own uses, because the biggest challenge we had is not having people like that on hand and on spot to make sure that the quality of work is done well and all that. But what Sean and I talked about possibly doing is we talked about possibly opening this up to just a handful of other people that might be interested in possibly having some outsourced work done for again, a fraction of the cost of what it would probably cost most of you to hire almost anyone else, but have a much higher quality person too. Not only for like SEO type work and marketing work, but also for like any kind of VA type then, or virtual assistant type then. And to give you an idea of the prices that we charge, and that this is inclusive of like all the internet, the workstation, the workers and all that. The equivalent of like a part-time person would probably be about roughly 500 per month, whereas more of like the equivalent of like what would be like a full-time would be more of like 1,000 a month. So again, compare that to like, U.S. prices or UK or Australia prices where, a full-time person's usually like, 4 or 5 grand a month right there. In some cases even more, like 6 grand for comparable quality type work. That could be a pretty cool setup for some of you there. So if there's any interest in that, just type in a 2 in the chat box, and if there's enough interest, we'll put together an offer soon and open the doors up to a handful of members right there. So I thought that was pretty cool because we've seen some awesome results just with some of our own stuff and our own samples and stuff and whatnot right there. All right, so lots and lots of wow, lots of 2s, so a lot more than what I thought. All right, cool. All right, yeah, so we'll get back to you guys on that in the coming weeks. We'll make an announcement there, so that's always good to hear, and I'm real excited about that because I think that could be pretty cool. So now let's move on to the bulk of the training for the day, followed by our Q&A, where you can ask basically anything that you want within reason, relevant to the training, of course, or relevant to Webfire or marketing. So here's what you'll learn today and the rest of the call. First, 5 specific ways of making money with Webfire, and then our Q&A where you can ask Ian anything you want and learn even more. So guys, again, if there's a topic that you want to see covered or a question that you want to see covered, don't just wait for it to like magically show up in the training. Feel free to ask on it, because the only way I know if you're looking for like a certain topic is if you ask, and I'm happy to cover anything you guys want. Just make sure to let me know what you want, whether it's a quick answer that I can give you on this call, or whether it's like a larger topic that you think would be really good to have a future training on. I'm happy to do any and all of those right there. So now, 5 specific ways of making money with Webfire. Note that these are specific examples that aren't all meant to be copied exactly as is. You should really adapt them to other niches, interests, and so on. I just know that a lot of people oftentimes like to see specific examples instead of like general ones. So that's what I'm doing with these 5. Now, this is not to say these are the only 5. This is not to say that these are only the specific examples that you can do. You can apply these to, again, anything out there at all. So don't limit yourself right here. So the first one is a lead service for chiropractors. And I like this because anyone can jump into this right now. There's literally nothing holding you back right here except yourself, if that's the case. And what you'd want to do here is you'd want to use Tweet Lead Finder inside of Webfire to search for people complaining about back pain. So you'd search for keywords like back hurts, hurt my back, or any term that you think a person would use that would indicate that they have a back problem or back pain. Like even like back pain itself would also be a good keyword to throw in there as well. So have at least a few different keywords like that. And then if you're trying to target this for like a local chiropractor, set the location to within 20 or 30 miles or so within the general area of where you're trying to basically target for the chiropractors there. Now, the smaller the area, the more targeted it can be. Like, obviously if you're within 5 miles, you're probably much more likely to want to go see that chiropractor. If you're within like 20, if you're within 20 miles, it's not as ideal, but it still oftentimes is close enough where, if you think the guy can help you, you're willing to travel. And of course, this is also dependent upon the location that you're in. I mean, there's some places where, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, I mean, you might need to travel an hour to see anyone. I have a relative that lives in Montana where they literally have to travel like 2 hours to go to a mall. So when they do the Christmas shopping, it's 4 hours back and forth. Whereas for me, I have to drive like, 10 to 15 minutes. But, obviously the larger the radius, the more leads you'll get, because the more people will be talking within that area. And then what you do after you set up a search like that, you then contact local chiropractors, and you can even use Lead Power Machine, which is our tool to search business-to-business leads, or you can search them by hand. Just use Google or anything like that. And you can call them if you want, but you can easily just email them too. So whatever you're most comfortable with. But I'd encourage you to get used to being comfortable with making an offer. Don't be shy to do any sales. But I know oftentimes email is way easier for a lot of people on phone, and that's perfectly fine if so. And what you would then do when you contact them, you say a bit about what you do. You say, you're a lead specialist and all that, and say that, hey, attached are a handful of leads that you can have for free that are examples of people complaining about back pain in your local area. So these are people that either you can reach out to yourself or I can do for you, and yada yada yada. So right there, they see actual proof that, hey, these are actual leads, that this guy isn't just BSing me saying that there's leads of people complaining. He just showed me 5 leads or 10 leads or 3 leads or whatever it might be of people right now in the last week or the last few days or anything complaining about that stuff right here. And then you explain the benefit, like say, hey, obviously if someone has back problems, they'd be perfect for you. Here's how I suggest making that work. I suggest either you or someone contacts those guys, give them like a couple tips on what might help, and then offer to do a free consultation or anything like that to get them into the office, because they know that once they get a guy in the office, it's likely that they'll turn into a paying client. And if a guy has like back problems, especially major ones, they're likely to get, in some cases, thousands of dollars off a single client over time. So again, lots of money there. And then you basically offer them one of 3 options. First, the first option is you could basically offer a weekly export of the leads. You can do daily, but it tends to be obviously a bit more work and all that. But obviously if the money's right, that's fine. Weekly is a pretty good compromise there, where each week you export the leads to them, and they can do as they wish with that. Like if they want to follow up with them on Twitter, they can do that. If they want to do anything else, they can do that. If they do nothing, they still think that they get value out of that, because again, you're sending them those leads. You can also offer another option where you'll actually not only get those leads, but you'll reply to the leads for them. Now, obviously, this would cost them more, which means it would make you more. But this is one where you would ask them to see perhaps a couple examples of what they might write back, and then you try to basically mimic that, or you'd outsource that. And this is this is cool here because it's more hands-free for them. The only downside for them is obviously it would cost more. So in one case, to get weekly exported leads for a few $100 say a month, that'd be a pretty good deal on both sides. I mean, it takes you literally a minute to export that each week. So for 4 or 5 minutes time total, you can get paid a few $100 a month, or more, depending upon the type of client or prospect. Whereas if you're replying, I would probably charge more, so up to like $1,000 or so per month, because it's more work, has more value, and in their eyes, just one sale could possibly make that back over time. And again, you can also apply this again, as I said, to anything outside of chiropractors as well. This is just one example right here. You can, and now the last way, which I don't prefer this, but I know a lot of people oftentimes ask this, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. But the last way is you could charge an agreed upon per lead cost. So if you find 10 leads one week, you could say, hey, it's like $5 a lead or $10 a lead or whatever you want right there. In some cases, there's also guys that say, well, it's nothing per lead unless they walk into the store, then it might be $100 or $200 or anything like that. Now, the reason why I'm not a fan of those is because oftentimes if you charge per lead, people can get really picky. Like if you send them 10 leads, they'll say, well, I like this lead, and this lead, but I don't like that one or that one. So it's kind of like after the fact, they're kind of like trying to nitpick, which is kind of like, it tends to cause a lot more issues and headache over time, because it's like if they're trying to pick the best of the best, then obviously you would charge a lot more per lead. So you have to say, well, the reason why it's only $5 or $10 is because, again, you can weed through these and pick the best ones if you want later. Now, the reason why I don't like ones where they pay you per client that walks in or per client that makes a sale is because, one, you have to kind of trust them that they're actually tracking well, and two, there's no skin in the game for them, so there's no reason why they want to really even follow through or do a good job of closing, because they don't have any skin in the game. And I've done a couple deals like that in the past. And I've had one that worked out decently, but it's one where it takes a lot more trust and stuff like that. And it was also one where each lead that initiated the contact I got paid $1,000 for, but that was more of like a high-end type one. But more often than not, something more like the weekly export of leads or service where you reply to the leads for them tends to be easier all the way around. But of course, it's up to you which one you want to do, of course. Now again, remember, you can turn around and do this for anything. Dentists, real estate agents, investors, massage therapists, plastic surgeons, eye care specialists, weight loss clinics, or gyms, so on and so forth. So don't limit it to just chiropractors. For instance, if someone's, talking about tooth pains, obviously a dentist. If someone's saying that they have to move, or they just got a new job or anything like that, or they have to move, or they're house hunting, obviously that'd be a perfect lead for a real estate agent or an investor or stuff like that. If someone's complaining about how they need a massage, you can offer a coupon for a massage therapist. If someone's complaining about a body part or anything like that, a plastic surgeon would be a good one. And that's one where some of those leads can be worth tens of thousands of dollars right there. So they're willing to oftentimes pay more. Eye care specialist is another great one. If someone's saying that they're considering, let's say, LASIK, which is, again, I assume most of you know, but that's surgery on the eye to see better. That'd be a perfect lead for someone that basically does that. Or if someone's complaining about wanting to lose weight or anything like that, that'd be perfect for a weight loss clinic or a gym or anything like that. So this can be applied to almost anything. So feel free to let your imaginations run wild there and apply it to anything that you want. This is just to give you, again, some general ideas. The second way that you can do to make money is to do a site analysis and SEO for dentists. Now, what you want to do here is you'd use the site analysis tool, the main keyword tool, and the SEO configuration tool to start an SEO service for dentists. And what you can do is you can create a screen recording of you showing off the results for a keyword like dentist, and then the location like Atlanta, Georgia, or Madison, Wisconsin, or anything like that, and stating that they're not in the top few spots. Now, what's cool about this is you can basically target this very generically, as most won't be in the top 3, obviously. If there's like 50 dentists in a city, only 3 are in the top 3. So again, you can basically target everyone except those 3, and know that that one video applies to all of them, but it looks like you made it specifically for them almost, which is kind of cool. And then you can also state that you notice that they don't rank for a bunch of other related terms as well. So it's not just the one keyword. You can have a bunch of things that you say, hey, I noticed that for a bunch of other terms you aren't ranked. Now, you don't actually have to even check like all those terms, because you can know, generically, most likely, they won't be ranked for most of those terms anyway. Then in the video, you can state a few reasons why some of the sites rank and why others don't. For instance, you can say stuff like the ones that rank tend to target the keyword in their title tag on their site and so forth. And they might have more relevant backlinks and stuff too. So again, you can say just that. You don't have to say anything too fancy. You can almost read off like, a site, analysis report of ours within Webfire. I mean, really, it's super easy, and just say, hey, these are all the reasons why these guys probably rank above you. So you're basically telling them exactly what's wrong and why and how they should basically fix it. But most of these guys won't want to do the actual work. So then you can either send a free site analysis report from Webfire, or you can ask them to contact you for a free report via email, where again you say like there's no obligations to even talk to you. You're just again sending an SEO report to them for free. Now, when you send the report, state that all the problems you can easily fix for them, and that you'll also guarantee them ranking results, or you'll continue working until you get the results for them right there. And what's cool with that is that again, it's more of like a trust thing where you're basically saying, hey, there's probably a lot of guys that state this, but you'll guarantee the results because you don't quit until the job's done. So I mean that goes a real long way, and that wording can also work real well. Like say, hey, I don't quit until the job's done, so I will get you ranked, period. Regardless if it's if I don't within the first month, which it usually takes me anywhere from like, let's say, two to 3 weeks. If it takes me longer, I do that for free until the job's done. Because again, you can almost always get the results here, especially for local terms, by targeting the proper keywords the main keyword tool indicates that says that are easier ones to basically rank for, and then making the fixes yourself via outsourcers or via the SEO configuration tool. Now, I'm not saying guarantee specific results. Like, don't say I'll rank you for dentist Atlanta or dentist Atlanta, Georgia, or anything like that. But you might have a list of like 10 or 20 useful terms like dentist Atlanta, dentist in Atlanta, Atlanta dentist, dentist Atlanta GA, dentist Atlanta Georgia. I mean, all sorts of different terms like that, or cosmetic dentist or teeth whitening Georgia. There's all sorts of terms that you could use, where most of these guys would be happy if you got ranked for any of those. So when you target more than one like that, it increases your chances of getting some results right there, and that's what those guys want to see. Now, you can sell this as either a one-time fee or a monthly fee. A one-time fee would probably be in the range of $1 to $5K typically for niche like dentists. Because again, they tend to make more off of each sale, and I'd say it's more so upwards in like the 3 to 5K range. 1K might be very generous of you, while a monthly fee could be anywhere from $297 to about $1,000 a month, depending on the type of client and the size of the client and whatnot. Obviously, the lower you charge her, the more likely they are to stay longer. But at the same time, if there's a guy that wants extreme results and he owns like a giant practice, he might be willing to pay more for an extended amount of time. I mean, I've had guys in the past pay, I think the highest one was either $12,000 a month or $16K a month. I forget which, but a lot of money, over $10K a month to do, again, fairly basic SEO type work. So again, you can land clients way easier, even at the lower price range of like $297 to $1,000 a month right there. But I'd say if you're brand new, you can start on the lower end of like $297 to $497 per month, and like a one-time fee of like $2,000 is a good one start. But you can easily get more like $5,000 with that, especially as you get more clients and can get more case studies and stuff like that as time goes on. And that's if it's your very first one and you don't have any results yourself or anything like that, you can oftentimes say, hey, I'll use you as a case study to get other dentists and stuff on board, and then you give them a pretty big discount to use, and then make sure you give them the results that they're basically asking for, and that can work again quite well right there. Now, a third one, and this is a very cool one because it's a unique twist on the last one you just heard, but you can get a lot of clients off of this. And I have a funny story with this too that I'll tell you in just a bit too. It was funny and scary at the same time. More so funny though. And the third way is, or the third method that you could do is you could do reputation management service for clients of lawyers. So this is basically almost an exact clone of number 2, but with an interesting twist. So instead of doing basic SEO, you'd be doing basically SEO in an attempt to get more good information out there for particular clients suffering from reputation issues. This would not only involve SEOing their site, but also creating articles, blogs, videos, and so forth, all targeting their company name and related terms. All things that Webfire can do, ranging from not just, again, SEOing their site, but also creating articles, blogs, videos, and distributing them out there to get even more stuff ranking for them. Where, again, anything on the company itself, like, again, typically when you try to rank for a company name, it's fairly easy, especially like most of these guys that aren't too well known. So again, if there's a couple bad things out there on them, you can get a lot of good stuff out there too, where even if you don't necessarily outrank all the bad stuff, if there's a lot of good stuff mixed in, it makes them look much, much better than if the only thing they see is bad stuff. Now, a trick to really explode at this is to contact a handful of lawyers, and these guys can be anywhere in the world. They don't have to be local, who might deal with clients contacting them on potentially suing troublemakers, ruining their reputation online. And then you'd simply say that you're an online reputation company that specializes in outranking negative stuff, so there's positive stuff out there for their clients. And you can offer a cut to the lawyer or lawyers if they refer any clients over to you. So why does this work? Because lawyers constantly get people like this with reputation issues who don't want to spend $50,000 or more fighting it in court, which they may or may not win, versus spending something more like $5K and fixing it all. And instead of losing the client, the lawyer would rather still make some money off of you. Because like there's certain cases where a lawyer might say, hey, you're upset with this one guy, he's slandering you online, but you can fight it in court, but he might be halfway across the world. It would cost a fortune to sue, and you'd be unlikely to get him to do anything anyway. So even though they're happy to take the 50 grand and fight, a better solution might be to spend this 5 grand here and just get positive stuff out there and beat the guy at his own game right there. And oftentimes, if guys say, hey, do I want to spend 50 grand or 5 grand? All of a sudden 5 grand doesn't seem too expensive, does it? Which is another key here too. Like if you normally go to a guy and say, hey, I'll do, reputation management for 5 grand, that seems like a lot to a lot of people. But if it's compared to like 50 grand, all of a sudden that 5K is like, oh, that's not too much, is it, when it solves all this stuff? And the cool part is you're not hunting down clients or prospects. The lawyers are sending them to you, so they're referring them over to you. So it's a win-win. And in this case, if it's 5 grand, if you offer the lawyer 1 or 2 grand for that right there, they're incentivized to basically do that all day long, any clients that line up. Now this is a trick that, again, can work really well, and I'll tell a story that is kind of funny. So ways back, I had a deal in place just like this right here, and what I didn't know is the lawyer originally was supposed to basically email me, the contact info of any prospects that might need the service. What I didn't know is apparently he gave out like my phone and stuff. But so one day I was at home and I get a call on my cell phone, and I didn't recognize the number at all. It was out of state and all that, and I answered it, and the guy's like, "Are you Brian Coz?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "How can I help you?" And he's like, "I heard that you can help with a problem I have." And I'm like, "Oh, what's that?" And this guy sounded like not suspicious necessarily, but just kind of like not weird, but like it sounded like there was some weird issue that he didn't want to say, but he needed help with, and just kind of added to like the the whole like not necessarily like frightened mood or anything, but it basically added to the whole whatever you say to make it sound like this guy had like the wrong number. And it was like he was saying, okay, so I was told that you could help with my problem. And I'm like, okay, well, what exactly is your problem? And he's saying, well, there's a guy that's accusing me of having a private jet of mine crash with several tons of coke on it. and immediately I'm like, well, wait. So it's like I'm like, And I'm like, and what exactly do you need help with? Because like I wasn't sure like if he had the right number, because it sounded like it was almost like a cleanup job at first. Like, and he had like this like mafia type voice to him, and and I'm like, what exactly did you need help with? And he's like, well, he's like, I'm being accused of having like a private jet crash with several tons of coke on it. I'm like, well, what do you need help with? He's like, I'm told that you're the guy that can help me. And again, I'm like, okay, crap, is this like Ron Numbers or another guy with the same name or what? You know, yada yada. And turns out that in the end, you know, he eventually said, you know, that this lawyer that you know referred me your way and blah blah blah. And what happened was there actually was a blogger online accusing this guy publicly of, you know, having this jet of his that went down with tons of coke on it. And he was, you know, he was basically saying, okay, well, it's mostly not true. The true part is he owned a jet at one time. It was sold off to another guy and eventually sold off to, I guess, a place in like Colombia where some drug lord eventually had possession of the jet. But that was like well after he owned it and all that stuff right there. And it did indeed crash and did have coke on it, but it wasn't his jet at that time. But this blogger like looked up, you know, the I guess I don't know if like if it'd be like a serial number or registration or what, but he somehow linked it back to this guy and was accusing this guy of having connections with drug lords. And this guy was like a major investor, and he was about to be on national TV, and he was about to be, you know, having some possible deals worth millions upon millions upon millions of dollars going through soon, and there were already investors seeing this blog saying, oh, I don't really want to invest millions of dollars if this guy has connections to drug lords. Now, this guy was like, absolutely have no connections at all, but this blogger guy is just trying to destroy me online, and he hasn't, like, you know, I've offered to answer any questions, and he's just been like a total prick and blah blah, and he's like, you know, this guy won't respond back anything within reason. Now, if you looked at the guys at this, you know, blogger's blog, you would see that, you know, the guy was kind of a nutcase. Like, you know, he accused lots of people of being all sorts of stuff. Like he actually, I think there was like a blog post where he was saying like President Bush had like ties to like aliens and stuff like that, and that, like, all this like really weird stuff. Like, I mean, like way out there. But most guys won't take the time to read an entire blog. They'll just see the one post where the guy is being accused of having ties to, you know, a drug problem. So this is a guy that, you know, there's millions of dollars at stake. And he's basically saying, I want to sue this guy, I have to sue him real fast. And then the lawyer's saying, well, A, you know, if you're on TV in like a month or two, it's unlikely that any lawsuit will get done even remotely close to that time. And you don't even know where this guy is based out of. You know, it looks like he's overseas. I mean, so it's very unlikely that you'd even get that guy in court or get him to, you know, take down anything. There's all these major issues where the lawyer basically said, hey, look, you could spend possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars on this right here and not get anywhere. Or you could use a service over here where they could, you know, at least help you out like a great deal right there. So again, that's what's kind of cool here, is that you know, it's a great way to get high-end prospects contacting you and thinking that all of a sudden your services are super cheap compared to like the extreme costs that the lawyers might charge right there. And to the lawyers, it's a good deal because, again, you're paying the money that they wouldn't otherwise get. So it really is a win-win. And again, you can apply this to anything you want, not just reputation management for lawyers, but try to basically think, try to basically think like, you know, what other services and stuff are out there that you could do, and what are possible, you know, businesses or kinds of people that could refer you those kinds of clients, because there's, again, just tons and tons and tons of opportunities out there for just that. Now, the fourth method right here is a PR service for book authors, and that so, you know, this technique basically involves using tools like the guest blog tool inside of Webfire to find places where you or your clients can get guest blog posts done, which you can email all with a couple of clicks of a button if you want, as well as reaching out to places where competitors to the client get their traffic from as well. using stuff like the competition backlink tool inside of Webfire. So you can search for authors of books anywhere, including on Amazon, and then attempt to find their contact info. Newer authors can especially be good here because, again, they're looking to get exposure, they're brand new, that they're excited, all that stuff right there. And then you basically email them either a short email with some useful tips for them to get more exposure, or a short video with some useful tips as well. Then state that you have a free PR service where you guarantee exposure on extra sites. And just to clarify, when I say free, I don't mean your service is free, but I mean you'll get PR for them where it's not like you'll pay each of these places to get exposure. You'll get them free publicity on all these places. So I just thought, as I read that, again right here, I just wanted to clarify that really quick right there. So again, you're trying to get them free publicity elsewhere, and you can guarantee them exposure on extra sites and blogs for their book, and state how this can not only help gain exposure for their book, but also for them as experts, because if they get mentioned on a handful of blogs and stuff, they're basically viewed as the experts in that case right there. Even if they don't get like tons and tons and tons of sales of that, any prospect that they actually talk to in the future, or anyone that they deal with, they can say, hey, if you Google that guy's name, you'd see him mentioned on these other blogs and sites, and he'd be viewed as clearly the expert. Then you sell it either as a higher one-time fee of like $1,000 plus, or a lower monthly fee for ongoing work. And usually for one like this, most guys, it'd more so be like a one-time thing, but if they have multiple books over time, it might come back to you each time. Then you can also offer a substantial cut if they can refer any other authors as well, and state that you'd love to use them as a case study as well for those other prospects too. Remember again that this again can be applied to any kind of business, not just authors. That's just one specific example right here. So again, it's getting guest blog posts out there for them, contacting the sites that their competitors get their traffic from, and trying to get exposure on those, like news pieces, articles, videos, all this stuff right there. All stuff that, again, Webfire can easily do for you. Number 5, and this is a great one if you just want to be like an affiliate of anything, is to write reviews for top commissions. This technique involves writing affiliate reviews for products or services that pay you higher commissions or reoccurring ones. So usually, I don't like to write, reviews or promote affiliate products if you're only making like a few bucks a sale. That's not too exciting, in at least most cases. But you can make $100 or more, or in some cases hundreds of dollars or more per sale, or if you can make a decent amount in reoccurring commissions each month, that all of a sudden is much more appealing. And I've had simple reviews I've done that I haven't driven any traffic to other than getting ranked. So like I didn't mail a mailing list or anything like that. I've had some that I've done, again, 5 figures in affiliate commissions that are just sitting there that took literally maybe 20 minutes to write. Now, you start by writing a quick review on a blog where you have a keyword-rich title like product name, review dash the good and the bad, or any kind of title that contains the keyword you're trying to rank for, like product name review, followed by some kind of compelling title or words to actually get them to click through, like the good and the bad, the pros and the cons, anything like that. Use the main keyword tool inside of Webfire to find the best review terms that are the easiest to rank for. Then you want to have a super short overview or about the product paragraph. This is just a few lines where you basically say what the product is. Then you want to list out the pros and cons, and ideally put those in bullet points because it's much easier to read, flows well, and it's just, people are more likely to stay if they think it's super easy to read. Then have a short summary of what you think, just like maybe a few lines long, where you say, so overall, even though, there's a couple cons like this, and this, the pros far outweigh that because of this, and that. So just give us a quick summary of what you think they should do, and then a call to action or a conclusion. This is where you'd have like your affiliate link, and it might say like, click here to get yada, 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 which we feel is the best bet if you're looking for yada, yada, yada. So definitely have a call to action. Definitely sum up what you think they should do. The last thing you want to do is say, here's some good stuff, here's some bad stuff, and leave it up to them. People want to be told what they should do. If you leave it up to them, they'll just look for another review, they'll click back, and they'll go elsewhere. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, make sure that the web page or blog post is optimized for the keyword using the site analysis tool. Then use the site submitter tool to alert the search engines to your new content. So anytime you have new content, again, you want to use the site submitter tool on that specific blog post or web page to alert the search engines that, hey, they should check you out because you have some new stuff. So that just makes them check out your site faster and gives you a better chance of getting ranked faster. And then you can turn around and turn that article into a video to optimize it for YouTube and such using Video Firestorm inside of Webfire to essentially double your chances of picking up traffic and sales, not only off of YouTube, but off of Google as well at the same time. Then if you're even more ambitious, you can use stuff like the real-time lead finder, the ranked lead finder, Q&A lead finder, and the social lead finder to find people talking about that product, related or competing products, or asking for reviews, and give them valuable content while trying to drive them to your full review. And oftentimes there's guys that say, well, how exactly should I write a reply or post back? And we actually do have training that actually talks specifically on just that we've done like a few weeks back, I should say. But just to briefly touch on that again, if there's a guy like let's say you wrote a review of an auto responder or a web host, okay? You could use the real-time lead finder or the Q&A lead finder to find guys saying like, what's a good auto responder? And then in your reply on the site, you can basically say, hey, well, a good one should do this, this, and this, and it shouldn't do this or that. And then you can say, I actually wrote a full review of what I think the best one currently out there is, which you can check out right here. And you give a link to your full review or your review video on YouTube or anything like that. So again, provide value in the post first and foremost, and you can get some awesome results off of just that. And this stuff, again, it doesn't take long. This can take in total, if you take like an hour a week, you can easily do this right here. Even in like a half hour a week, you can do this right here, and they add up over time. So it's not like every one will be like an absolute winner, but if like 1 out of 4 are, that's still easy money that, again, can last for a long, long, long time to come. Because it's not just money that's made like the next day or the next week. This can last and get traffic for months, years, or a super, super, super long time. Like the one that I've done 5 figures on, which was like, it took me like 20 minutes to actually do without sending any like mailing list traffic to her or anything like that. I think I did that close to a decade ago. It was probably like 2007 or 2008. I think 2007, maybe even 2006. But yeah, so again, to this day, it still makes me money for just a simple review that I wrote just based on this stuff right here. So remember again, all of these ideas aren't meant to be copied step by step for the exact same niche. Again, use them as a way to get your idea juices flowing and come up with your own unique ideas and niches based upon them. So often, again, I find that if you hear like specific examples, it sometimes is like even better than some of the generic ones. Or at least with me, I know a lot of people are the same way with that. Because again, all of these different money-making methods can be used or tweaked in different ways to work with thousands of different niches and ideas. So as we move into the Q&A, I can ask you guys this too. Have you used Webfire for other ideas that you'd like to share here? Or have you any interesting things that you've tried yourself, or stuff that you have any questions on? Again, feel free to ask or share that here with the rest of us. I know we had a really amazing client at Webfire that actually bought this, maybe want to say maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and literally on the call itself, he actually learned about, how to do like a site analysis and stuff like that, and literally sold a site analysis before the call was actually over. So I think he maybe had it for like 20 minutes tops, and sold a site analysis for, I think it was $100. And then we had a training call a few days later, and he said, I think if memory was right, he made $300 additional dollars doing that same thing. And that's just right off the bat. That's not even like applying all the tricks and stuff right here, but it just goes to show, again, there's lots of different ways that you can make money, but the key is to take action, go out there, and more importantly, make an offer. If you don't make an offer of any kind, you'll never make any money or really accomplish anything back. So definitely make an offer out there and take action. And with that, what we'll do, we'll move into, again, the Q&A right now, followed by the cash giveaway and the special announcement for the Facebook group. So we have a new Facebook group page that we just made literally this morning. We got everything back and up there. So you guys will be the first in. So again, there's we have lots and lots of people on the fan page, but we just made a Facebook group, so there's really like no one on that right now. So you guys will be the first in that, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But first, we'll go to the Q&A. And Sean, I know you've been answering lots of questions and stuff, but if you've noticed any questions that were asked earlier or anything like that, feel free to shout those out, and I will look over the newer questions.
Good, Brian. Okay, so number one question you could answer. There were a bunch of people who asked the stuff you did for the guy with the cocaine jet.
Yeah.
Okay, people were curious, like, what, not the 3-day answer, but in short, what did you do for that guy to help him out?
Sure. So the main thing with that was we would basically create like positive blog posts, positive articles and videos where it's basically talking about him and his businesses and such. So if someone were to basically Google him, previously all they would see is they'd see like nothing on this guy and only the bad stuff on that one bad blog. So I mean, it didn't look all that great. Whereas once what you try to basically do is get like lots of blog posts out there, lots of articles, lots of videos out there. So even if you don't get the bad stuff necessarily to page 2, which you oftentimes can, but even if you never do, they at least see positive stuff and good stuff out there other than just the bad stuff. And on top of that, what we also did in this case is, and this would apply to like a bunch of clients, you could basically say, hey, if there's a good chance that, let's say, you'd have a hard time outranking a controversial post, on top of the good stuff that you could post out there, you could also post, let's say, a blog post directly addressing the bad stuff. Like, and in that case, you can be very blunt saying, hey, this is what this guy is accusing me of. Here's the real story. Here's my version of it. So if people are like, oh, man, here's some good gossip. This guy is being accused of being like, a drug lord, basically. And then you see, their version of it, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, crap, that makes complete sense that he sold this off to one guy, and then later that guy sold the plane off to another guy, and eventually it ended up in the hands of the drug lord. No one in their right mind would say, hey, that's, this guy's fault that his plane was, used. It'd be kind of like saying, hey, if you owned a car and you sold it off to one guy, a decade ago, and then 5 years ago that guy sold it off to another guy, and then that guy got busted for having drugs in the car, no one would say, hey, that's your fault, you're tied to that drug guy. I mean, so, if you get the story out there, it just helps. And it's not terribly hard to actually do either. It's actually very, very easy. I mean, as I said, just writing a handful of articles, posts, anything like that, and just submitting that out there helps. And especially if you target the keywords well, the title of the videos, and the title of the blog post and all that, if you target all the possible terms that someone would look for when they're looking up the guy's name or the business name or reviews of the business name and such, that's all the stuff that can help right there, and it's very easy. Now, to me and you, that might sound like, well, gee, this is like super, super easy. Just write like a bunch of stuff and target it in the title and all that. But what a lot of you don't, understand is that most guys don't realize how easy that is to actually do. So that's where it's basically to your advantage to have a service like this. And for a guy like him, quite frankly, guys like that don't even care if they know how or how easy it is. They just want the work done. Because this is a guy where, again, millions of dollars at stake, he could care less if this is like a half-hour task or like a 1 month of solid work. He just wants the stuff done fast. That's it. All right, so next question, Sean?
Good. So that was the short answer, guys. So Lulu asked a question I want to answer because I think this is a great, whoops, I think Lulu was the one who asked this question. People are now typing in questions faster than I can read them. But somebody asked the question and said, yeah, Lulu, she said, she looked in the ranked lead finder and the leads are old, so she wanted to know how she finds more current leads. And there's obviously really two different questions in there. So first of all, the ranked lead finder are going to only pull up sites that are ranked on the top 10 on the front page of Google, Yahoo, and Bing. So many of those are going to be older threads or blog posts or forum threads or Q&A things that have been around for a while. But because we know those rank, right? I mean, we know that if you searched Google for weight loss, this is in the top 10 of weight loss, or for weight loss supplement or weight loss diet or whatever, right? These pages are getting current traffic. That makes them very, very valuable places to post because they're ranked, they're getting traffic every single day, free traffic from the search engines, which means if you're on there, you're getting free exposure, free traffic diverted over to your site. And the second thing we know is that, where you can post up links to your site, your video, your store, whatever, those links are not only, potentially getting traffic, they're also getting really powerful inbound links because the ranked lead sites are all ranked on the front page of Google, Yahoo, and Bing. So inbound links from those are really, really super good links. So you're getting the benefit of both. To get more current leads, like all the people who talked about weight loss in the last 24 hours, you can use the ranked lead finder, you can use the tweet lead finder, right? Because those are only fresh leads by date. They're not
John,
older leads. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, just basically clarify and fix that. You said the ranked lead finder's the newer leads. It's the real-time lead finder.
I'm sorry, yes, the real-time lead finder. No wonder you're confused. I'm talking. Okay, so let's see. Well, I'm going to just work my way backwards. So Tony says he wants to target life insurance agents. Tony, so you're talking about selling leads to life insurance agents? Let's make sure we answer the right question. Tony, I know you didn't expect me to actually ask you a question. Okay, so assuming that that's the question, Brian, how would you target life insurance agents?
So, like as a service or guys looking for life insurance?
No, he has a service he wants to market to life insurance agents.
Okay, well, if you had a service, there's a few things you could do. I mean, one, the easiest thing is like you could try to target guys that are life insurance agents asking questions like how do I find leads, stuff like that. You might find some on the Q&A tool. You can also just contact them basically directly. Even use like Lead Power Machine to contact all the life insurance agents out there, within an area, and make them an offer basically, and then use the tools we have to find guys that might be asking questions on life insurance, like the real-time lead finder, the Q&A lead finder, or stuff like that, where guys might be saying like, hey, what's the difference between, what's that called, like, fixed term life insurance versus this. I'm not quite sure on the exact names of all those, but common questions like that, knowing that all those leads would be obviously very good life insurance leads because they're actually asking a question on that. And those are the kind of leads that a life insurance agent would really, really love. And it's the kind of thing where the example we gave of the first example today with the chiropractor one, you could easily apply that to a life insurance agent too. I mean, except it may or may not be localized in that way. But I mean, if you want to apply that to like a global or like a national offer right there, you can pretty much tweak that first method and do almost the exact same stuff there for life insurance.
Okay, great. Right, so if you own domains that have keywords in them, would you put up a site to collect leads?
If you have a domain with keywords in it, would you put up a site to get leads? I mean, I guess, the question I think you're basically asking is it worth it to rank sites and then grab leads off of that? And of course, it's always worth it to grab leads off of sites. Having a keyword-rich domain name as well as keywords on the within the content and in the title tag can help you rank. So what you want to rank for is largely up to you. Like if you want to rank content out there to try to drive it to your main site, that's perfectly fine. If you want to make it like a blog and then you try to grab leads off of that, you can. If you're trying to make a squeeze page, typically a squeeze page won't rank well in the majority. There are exceptions to that, but typically Google tries to only rank stuff that gives value first and foremost, so it has some kind of actual content. So just keep that in mind there. But that's that can be a great way to get stuff ranked. But it depends what your goal is there.
Okay, great. Let's see here. A lot of questions. Whoops, and you people keep typing. He said thank you. All right, I gotta go back to the beginning because somebody had a question earlier. Somebody wants you to, I'm not sure how you say it. If you say this, just Marty, because it ends in a J, so it confuses me. Can you show us hands-on, start to finish, using Tweet Lead Finder and how to set up the various options to get the leads? This is back when you were talking about chiropractors.
Yeah, all you would basically do is you'd open Tweet Lead Finder, you'd go to the keywords, and you would type in terms like back pain, hurt back, and a few other terms like that. You would click on location, and you'd pick like a mile zone, like let's say within 20 miles, and then just click on leads, and you'll find leads. In fact, we've done demos of just that in the past. It's all very, very, very easy.
Okay, great. So Marty also started an acupuncture site to sell affiliate Amazon products, used the Webfire tools, made a comment on a blog, already started to see the traffic increase to the site, so that's great. Congratulations, number one, on taking action, and number two, on getting results, and look forward to many great things. Let's see. Jonathan asks, when you charge a one-time fee to a client, how long do you work for the client until your service is complete?
Well, it really depends upon the service, but typically, like if you're saying, hey, let's say it's an SEO service, and you'll say, hey, let's say you say, hey, of these 10 keywords, we guarantee that you'll get ranked for 3. You basically work until the job's done. Usually that stuff doesn't have to take more than like a few days of actual work, and within those days, really it's like probably a few hours of work total, within that time right there. So it doesn't have to be all that long. If it's like a PR service, you basically would do the service one time, that's that, and then maybe report the results to them a week or two later. But that really depends upon the exact service, the exact offer, and the exact guarantee being done there. But usually most one-time fees don't take terribly long, if you're doing it right.
Right. So related question that two different people asked is, once you start doing work for somebody and let's say you're working to rank their site, what's to stop them after you get the site ranked from continuing to pay you or not continuing to pay you every month? Let's say you're charging them $500 a month.
Sure. Well, with that, are there some guys that might pay you for a month and two and leave? Sure. And that's perfectly fine. It's the same reason why, there's probably monthly services that you guys pay for that you might leave on too. But, the advantage is if they stay, which you can clearly tell them is, hey, if they stay, you can get them ranked for additional terms, not just those main ones. And on top of that, you can help them maintain their current rank as well. So, if you do a good job, and let's say of the 10 keywords you're trying to rank for, if you get them ranked for like 3, you'll say, hey, I'll try to continue ranking you for even more, and I'll have some additional keywords on top of those 10 that we'll shoot for now too each month, and we'll do these additional services for you each month. So if there's ongoing work that you're basically doing for them that they think is tough or they don't want to do themselves, there's guys that can stay a long time there. Of course, there are some that will leave, and that's all part of the game, but that's, at the same time, if they're paying you hundreds of dollars a month, it's okay if some leave because you're still making a good profit even from month one.
Okay, let's see here. So Dennis asks, is there a way to refresh the site analysis after making some tweaks instead of having to run a complete new analysis?
Well, if you refresh it, you would start a new one anyway.
I think he probably wants to know if there's a way to make it run faster since it does take a few minutes to pull all the data.
Yeah, if you make the changes, you would have to run a new one again. Because the problem there is like we'd have no way of knowing what you changed, so everything would have to be rechecked again. Because I think what you're basically saying is, hey, if I only change the title tag, can it check just that? But there's no easy way for it to know, hey, let's recheck only the title tag. In the future, we can possibly look at if there's like a button or feature to refresh just a certain part. But realistically, it's not too hard to just refresh and wait like a minute or two to have it do a new search.
Right, and the other thing is, of course, we don't know what else externally changed because you might have pulled a report today, and a month from now you then pull another report, and of course, the analysis would change. Your inbound links, the competitors' links, all that kind of stuff, the rankings. So in order to give you current information, we've got to pull that info. So Shane asked, would you consider uploading videos on what frequency to promote? Weekly, monthly? That was actually the end of the question.
Okay, I'm not quite sure if you're asking as a service or for yourself. If it's like for like an affiliate review, you only have to really upload once. If it's for like a client, let's say you're selling like a video service where you make one a week or one a month, you certainly can have a weekly service or a monthly one. But without really knowing more of what your question is about, it's hard to guess.
All right, hang on. So how do you create lead traffic for a physical product around $500, asks Kai. So first of all, the same way you'd create traffic for anything else, right? You can go pull leads of people interested in the target market. You can get keyword-related, articles and posts ranked on your site. Really, it's the same thing that you would do for any other product. It doesn't matter whether your product is, $100,000 or $1 or $500. It's all the same concept. It's analyzing your niche market, finding the keywords that would be most appropriate to give you the best chance of pulling buyers, and then go ahead and follow the steps and do the work to accomplish that. So somebody asked, how do you connect Webfire to your WordPress site?
It depends what you mean by that. So there's if you're trying to use the plugin inside of SEO configuration, you just basically install the plugin, and there's a walkthrough for that there. If you mean like you're trying to do a website analysis, you just basically enter in the URL. If you're trying to submit content, we have a beta tool right now that is the content submitter, where right now it submits to sites like Tumblr, which submits it to like a ton of other sites, as well as we also have a feature right now where you can submit to Blogger blogs, and they're currently working on adding WordPress into that too. So I'm not sure if you're talking about that or another one. But yeah, if I knew more of what you were asking, we could definitely answer that though. Anything else?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to. Somebody's got like 3 different things, so it's there. Whoops. So somebody says I have a local lawyer who's okay with the service provided. The keywords that he's interested in, I placed them into the 3, 4, 5, 6, depending the keywords. I'm guessing they mean the ranking. He wants all to do 1, 2, 3. What can I do to improve fast? The site is done in Joomla, so it's difficult to use WordPress tools.
So I'm not sure what the question is. It sounds like he's just asking what's the quick way to rank him fast?
Right, to increase the rankings for the local lawyer from where he's on page 1 of Google, but he wants to get them ranked higher.
It'd be the exact same tricks to rank, as a whole. Like first and foremost, and make sure to watch. I think the first. I think that there was a call maybe like 7 weeks back where we basically talked about how to rank fast, and on the second and the week after that we talked about it, and 2 weeks ago we had a traffic plan one. But the main thing you have to basically do is first, on the keywords that he ranks for, the very first thing that you want to check is, are those keywords that he's ranked somewhere on page 1 for, are those even mentioned in his title tag? If not, simply changing around the title tag can move you from like number 9 to like 1, 2, or 3 very, very quickly and easily. I mean, in some cases, in like a matter of hours, so just with that easy tweak right there. If he mentions it on his site, then you can look at stuff like, is his title compelling? Is it mentioned or used on that web page itself? This is very, very common with lawyers. Like they might try to rank for, like, let's say, real estate attorney, but they're trying to rank a page that has nothing to do with real estate attorney. Like it might be like a bunch of terms. So you could make a separate web page within his website that is a page all about, the real estate attorney stuff. So, and then try to specifically rank just that. But yeah, any of our ranking calls will go into a lot of detail on just that.
Okay, so Raul says...
And then after this, Sean, we should probably do the...
Yes, we should. So he asked this question. I was popping through. So the first question he asked was, how long does it take to rank a new page on page 1 for a competitive keyword? And the answer to that is, it depends. Because it's going to depend upon, you're talking global, local, how much competition, how much search volume, if just making a page and generating lots and lots of inbound links to it, that's way too broad a question for us even to guess at. Of course I could guess, but, I don't want to mislead you by simply guessing and pretending that there's a fixed answer to that. He does say then that he's got a website, and I'm thinking you mean on page 4 of Google. You changed everything but that the site analysis told you to update, but the site hasn't, that page hasn't improved in its rankings, if I understand this question correctly. Go ahead, Brian.
So here, so keep in mind the page analysis will only tell you if the page is basically optimized for that term. what you want to do, which is equally as important, is check the main keyword tool and see what your chances of ranking for that term are. So like if you're trying to rank for, let's say, weight loss, you can easily optimize a web page to be nearly 100% optimized for weight loss. But that doesn't mean that you'll rank for weight loss, because if you use the main keyword tool, you might find that's a very, very, very competitive term where there might be, hundreds of sites that are just as optimized, and some with like a ton of authority, backlinks, and all that stuff right there. Now, if you find that, and my guess is if you're mostly optimized and not ranked, it means that you're targeting a keyword that is much more competitive than most. So that's the first thing that I'd look at. The second thing is you want to also make sure that you get some backlinks from authority sites and stuff like that going to your site too. Now, if I knew more of what the keyword and stuff was, I could probably answer you much better. But those would be like my first two guesses there. And the last one is too, if you just made a new site or just changed it, rankings don't necessarily happen overnight or anything there. So that could easily be that too. And with that, Sean, we should probably do the cash giveaway, because otherwise guys will be waiting a really, really long time there. But if you have any other questions, you can type those in the meantime, or just also write our support at webfire.com, or better yet, the help desk inside of the members area under the support tab, so that makes sure that there's never like an email issue or anything like that. So with that, we actually made a new Facebook group at popular request of a few members, and you can actually join that group. It was made brand new this morning, so you guys will be the first of the first there. You can go to getwebfire.com/FB group. Again, that's getwebfire.com/FB group, and that will forward you to the fan page right there. And if you join that right now, so make sure to join that right now. We made it open right now, but it will be a closed group, so it'll be only for Webfire members, but because there's a lot of you, we made it open for right now. If you join that group, just make a quick comment or post or anything on what you thought of today's training, or if you learned anything, or if you have any ideas or anything of your own at all, post anything you want right there, and we'll pick a random post in the next couple minutes, and they'll win $100 on the spot right here. So again, we'll give you guys a few minutes or so to do just that. Again, it's getwebfire.com/FB group. Join that group, then do a quick post of some kind, and we'll pick a random winner from that will give $100 to today on the spot. So again, make sure to go to getwebfire.com/FB group, and then each week or so we'll also be posting some new news and tips and stuff there as well. So you'll get a lot of free info and tips out of that too.
Okay,
right,
well, if they're doing that, Lulu asked this question. She's not found any expired domains or keyword domains. How can she find a suitable niche domain with reduced competition within the same range?
So I think you might be confused there. So if you're saying, so for expired domains, those can sometimes change every day, because it'll pick a random set of keywords to search. So there's some days where there might be 0 expired domains that rank or that are listed on a rank site, because those those don't happen like every hour or anything like that. So continue to search that each day, and think of additional keywords and stuff too. Don't just search for the exact same word. If you search a handful of different ones, you'll eventually find some, especially if you search like a couple times a week or so. Now the second part, you said you haven't found keyword domains, and I'm guessing that you're wrong on that, because you might be using the wrong tool. There's a keyword domain tool. Any keyword that you use, you'll typically find tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of available domain names. Make sure that you actually select what kind of domain you want, like .com, .net, and all that stuff, and it will search all the available ones. But I've never, in the history of Webfire and all the searches, I've never found any term that hasn't shown anything there, even some very, very competitive ones. So make sure that you're using the proper tool there for that, if that's what you meant. Anything else, Sean?
Oh yes, oh yes. There are lots and lots of questions. People are loving questions here. Yeah, and everybody who's saying yes, you have to get approved to be a member. Yes, but you're getting approved as fast as you're getting in. So as fast as you ask to be a member, you're getting approved, and so then you can post. So that's all happening real quick. Sorry, we should have mentioned that. But there we go. Okay. All right, so Raul asked this question, and I think you're going to need to clarify it. So you have many expired domains which have good DA and PA. So, oh, okay, probably good domain authority and page authority. So I should rank those domains or make new and give backlinks from expired ones. No, you should make you should set up sites on the expired domains that are, are good domains. So at least set up a main page with, that's targeted to the keyword that you want to rank that site for. Since you already own the domains and you already know that they're good, that you can definitely do. And if you guys have any other questions while you're busy posting up in Facebook, let us know. And you're welcome. All right, and somebody said you have to refresh the Facebook page after applying because it'll let you in. Somebody's just sitting on it right now letting you guys jump in. Yeah, and yeah, Errol, it's echoing because Brian has an echo if his mic isn't muted when I'm talking. Here's a good question for you, Brian. Well, they're all posted away. What's the best way to start fresh in internet marketing using Webfire? That's pretty generic.
Well, the best way would be probably to watch our Jumpstart training where we actually address just that in an entire call. Because that's about probably like an hour's so of info on how to like jumpstart that. But if you're brand new, it really depends on what you want to do. Like, but the main thing I'd say, there's probably two main things. One is to sell a product or service even as like an affiliate. And if an affiliate, one of the easiest ways is to write reviews, which we actually talked about that to a day. If you're looking to sell a service, one of the easiest things to do is to sell some kind of web-related service like SEO or leads or anything like that, and you can easily apply anything you learned here to that as well. But definitely apply anything you learned here today, as well as review some of the prior training that we have, because we have a lot of that stuff, especially like jumpstart type stuff to get you going and whatnot. And with that, Sean, should we give guys like another minute before we do the cash draw? Because I know we're going.
Yeah, because it just takes a minute to get everybody approved. Once you guys are in, you're in. So we won't have to do this twice.
Alrighty. So let me know when you want to do the cash draw right there, and we can do that. In the meantime, if there's any questions, feel free to shout.
Okay. Yes, and so Paul says with the domain finder. Okay, so this is for the expired domain finder. Does it only show ones with good page ranking, or could the domains have penalties?
It only shows ones that currently are either ranked on page one themselves or listed on live sites that are ranked on page one. So regardless if there's like a penalty or not in that case, if there's one that's getting free exposure on page one, it's worthwhile to check into that. So that's basically the logic behind that right there. Now if you're looking to like, down the line do stuff like, do mailing from it or stuff like that, obviously you'd want to check to see if it's blacklisted or stuff like that. But for the basics of what we're basically talking about right here, you don't have to worry too much about that. But it's definitely some stuff that we could look into in the future to possibly automatically look for like blacklists and stuff like that. But even in this case, if it's ranked on page 1, you don't really care.
Yeah. All right. So, Brian, a whole bunch of people have posted up on the page, so we got to probably wrap this up. If anybody has any last questions, post them up. But go ahead, Brian, and you can pick a winner and make somebody happy.
All right. Let's go to the page. And just in time, because there's a big thunderstorm now outside that I'm hearing. All right. All right. So here is the page right here, and again, it's just getwebfire.com/FB group, and see lots of posts right here. All right, good stuff. I'll just refresh it once more. And again, you can feel free to join this at any point in time right here. And what I will do is I will scroll up and down. Let me make sure the whole page loads. There's a lot of comments and stuff here. Just want to make sure everything loads. All right. So first, Sean, I'll have you pick a number between 1 and 3.
I'm number 1, baby.
Number 1. All right. So I will go to the first third right here, and I'll go up and down between the first third. You see there's 1, 2, and 3. So just the first third. Say stop at any point.
Stop.
All right. Oh, this is kind of funny. It's between two people. I was hoping there would be like a smaller comment so we could go back and forth but between a bunch. So I can either do a random back and forth, or we can do eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Sean. You pick.
Hey, I'm not even doing this now.
All right. All right. So we'll do eeny, meeny, miny, mo between these two. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. All right. So Martin Acosta, you are the winner of the $100 giveaway. So if you're Martin Acosta, feel free to email us over with your PayPal info or message us, and we'll make sure to get that over to you today. So again, Martin Acosta, congratulations, you are $100 richer. So, and with that, guys, we can wrap up the call here, and if you have any extra questions or anything like that, again, you can always write us at support@webfire.com or within the members area under the support tab right there in case there's ever an email issue. So with that, Sean, is there anything else you want to add in real quick?
No, I think we got everybody, and appreciate all of you guys that are members. Martin, I see your, so that's why your name when you registered has a J on it. That's what confused me. So Martin is the guy we were actually asking questions for before, and you're welcome, and we see your email address, so we'll grab that and shoot you off some cash money via PayPal. Everybody, awesome. Love you being here. Keep, going through the trainings. Keep taking action. You're not going to get rich unless you actually take action. And so that's going to be really, really valuable for you to go ahead and do that, because if you make things happen, you will find great results, and you can get them very, very quickly. So go to work, and we will talk to you later. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks much. Take care.